Your child comes home from school and they have 2 hours of homework. You sit with them, you help them, you push through the resistance. Because you believe, as almost every parent in the Western world believes, that homework is how children learn. That the more work they do, the more they retain. That falling behind means falling behind. In Japan, a first grader goes home and plays. A second grader goes home and plays. A third grader goes home and plays. For the first 3 years of school, sometimes longer, Japanese children are assigned almost no homework at all. Their afternoons belong to them. Their evenings belong to their families. Their weekends are not study sessions. And Japan consistently produces some of the highest academic performers on Earth. Top 3 in the world in mathematics, reading, and science, year after year after year. So either Japan has found something that the rest of the world is completely missing, or everything you believe about homework is wrong. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, I think you will believe both. Japan's education results are not accidental, and they are not genetic. They are the product of a deliberate educational philosophy that begins not with academics, but with character. The first 3 years of Japanese schooling, grades 1 through 3, are guided by a national curriculum principle called Shudan Seikatsu, life in a group. The primary goals of these years are not reading speeds or multiplication tables. They are empathy, responsibility, patience, and the ability to function well as part of a community. Japan made a decision at a national policy level that these character foundations must come before academic content, that a child who cannot sit still, listen attentively, care for their environment, and work with others cannot benefit fully from academic instruction anyway. Japan builds the vessel first, then it fills it. The West has been trying to fill the vessel while still building it, and wondering why so much spills. This is the philosophy behind everything we are about to cover. This is not a controversial claim in educational research. It is the consensus. Harris Cooper at Duke University conducted the most comprehensive meta-analysis of homework research ever assembled, reviewing over 100 studies spanning decades. His conclusion was unambiguous. For children under age 10, homework shows no measurable benefit to academic achievement. None. For children aged 10 to 14, the benefits are modest. Only in high school does homework show meaningful correlation with learning outcomes. The American Educational Research Association, the National Education Association, and virtually every major educational research body has reached similar conclusions. The homework we assign to primary-age children is not backed by evidence. It is backed by tradition. Japan looked at the evidence. Then it built its system around the evidence. The West looked at the evidence. Then it continued the tradition anyway.
What this means for you. If your primary school child is spending more than 20 minutes on homework per night, the research does not support it. The time might be more valuable spent in play, in conversation, in physical activity, or in sleep. What are Japanese children doing in years 1 through 3, if not homework? They are learning to sit, to listen, to wait, to cooperate, to clean, to serve each other lunch, to bow, to greet, to apologize properly, to be responsible for the classroom they share. These are not soft skills. These are the cognitive and behavioral prerequisites for academic learning. A child who cannot sustain attention for 20 minutes cannot benefit from a 20-minute lesson. A child who cannot tolerate frustration gives up the moment a problem gets hard. A child who does not feel responsible for their environment does not care about the work produced in it. Japan spends years 1 through 3 installing these capacities. By the time academic pressure begins, around grade 4, Japanese children have the internal architecture to handle it in a way that their Western counterparts, already burned out and homework resistant, often do not. What this means for you. The most valuable things you can build in a young child are not academic. They are attentional, emotional, and social. Teach them to sit with discomfort, finish what they start, to care for a shared space. These are the foundations everything else is built on. What Japanese children do with their homework-free afternoons is not passive. It is not screen time, and it is not structured activity. It is something that developmental science considers among the most cognitively demanding things a child can do. It is unstructured play.
When children play freely, without adult direction, without a predetermined outcome, without a score, they are exercising executive function, creative thinking, conflict resolution, language acquisition, risk assessment, and emotional regulation simultaneously. No academic exercise does all of these at once. Stuart Brown at the National Institute for Play, and decades of research following his work, has shown that children who engage in regular, unstructured play show measurably better problem-solving, higher creativity scores, stronger social skills, and more robust mental health than children whose time is fully structured and supervised. Japan did not take homework away and replace it with nothing. It took homework away and replaced it with something more valuable: time to be a child, which turns out to be the most developmental thing of all. What this means for you: protect your child's unstructured time, not screen time, genuine free play, ideally outdoors, ideally with other children, ideally without adult direction. It is not wasted time. It is the most productive use of a young child's hours. Now, this next point is the one that challenges the deepest assumption, because it is not about children at all. It is about what we are actually doing to them when we give them homework they do not need. Here is what the research on early academic pressure consistently finds, and it is not what parents are hoping for. Children who experience high academic pressure before age 8 show higher rates of anxiety, lower intrinsic motivation to learn, and most ironically, worse long-term academic outcomes than children who were allowed to develop at a natural pace.
A landmark study tracking children from kindergarten through to their mid-20s found that children who attended play-based early education significantly outperformed their academically pressured peers by age 23 across nearly every measure: academic achievement, employment, relationship quality, and mental health. Early pressure does not create high achievers. It creates children who associate learning with stress, compliance, and performance anxiety. And that association, once formed, is extraordinarily difficult to undo. Japan built a system that makes children want to learn. The West built a system that makes children do it whether they want to or not. The long-term data says Japan was right. What this means for you: ask yourself honestly, does your child's current relationship with learning look like curiosity or compliance? If it is compliance, the pressure may be producing the exact opposite of what you intend. There is a second reason Japan produces high academic results without early homework, and it is almost the direct opposite of how Western education systems operate. Japan does not move on until everyone understands. Western education tends to advance by calendar. By September, the class will have covered X. Whether every child has mastered X is secondary to the schedule. The children who fall behind carry the gap forward, where it compounds into a structural disadvantage that follows them through their entire education. Japan advances by mastery. The class does not move to long division until every child in the room has truly understood multiplication. The class does not move to complex sentences until every child can write a simple one with confidence. This sounds slower. In the early years, it is. But by the time Japanese students reach the years when academic pressure begins, around grade 4, they have no gaps. They have a complete foundation. And a complete foundation is what makes acceleration possible. Japan is not producing high achievers by doing more earlier. It is producing them by doing less better, and making sure no one is left behind while they do it. What this means for you: if your child is struggling with a concept at school, resist the pressure to push forward. Go back. Fill the gap. A solid foundation in the basics is worth more than a shaky understanding of everything above it. In Japan, the absence of homework is not a gap in the system.
It is a feature of it. The family meal, the conversation, the warmth, the daily ritual of eating together without distraction is treated by Japanese educational philosophy as one of the most important things that happens in a child's development. Not the most fun, not the most comfortable, one of the most important. Research from Harvard's Family Dinner Project, a decade-long study of the impact of shared family meals, found that children who eat dinner with their family regularly show higher academic achievement, larger vocabularies, lower rates of depression and anxiety, stronger resilience, and lower rates of substance use than children who do not.
By not filling children's evenings with homework, Japan is not abandoning their education. It is protecting one of the most powerful educational environments that exists, the family table. What this means for you: protect dinner. No phones, no screens, no homework at the table. The conversation that happens there about the day, about ideas, about feelings, is doing more for your child's development than another worksheet ever could. When Japanese students do begin receiving homework, typically from grade 4 onward, it looks nothing like Western homework. It is not busy work. It is not a repetition of what was covered in class that day. Japanese homework tends to be a single focused task, one problem to think deeply about, one passage to read carefully, one observation to make in the world and write about the next morning. The quantity is small. The depth is significant. It is designed not to occupy time, but to develop a specific habit of mind, sustained attention, independent inquiry, the ability to sit with a single question and think about it without being told how. This is the direct result of 3 years of character development before the homework began. The children who receive this kind of homework are ready for it. They have the patience, the focus, and the love of learning that makes it possible to go deep rather than just go fast.
Japan does not give children homework earlier because it wants them to learn more. It gives it later because it wants them to love learning first. Here is what I want to leave you with. If you are a parent who has been pushing your young child through homework every night, exhausted, resistant, fighting over a worksheet at 8 p.m., this video is not an accusation. It is an invitation. You were doing what you were told was right. You were doing what every parent around you was doing. You were doing what felt like love. Japan simply found a different answer to the same question. How do I give my child the best chance? And their answer was not more, earlier, faster, harder. Their answer was stronger foundations, deeper roots, a childhood worth having. The academic results follow. They always do when you build the right things first. The research is clear. The philosophy is sound. The outcomes speak for themselves. You do not have to do it all tonight, but you might start by letting them play. Warm shift back up. Genuine, direct, end strong. Point to next video card immediately after. One question before you go. What is one thing you want to change about your child's evenings after watching this? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this challenged something you believed, the video on Japanese parenting habits that raise calm children goes even deeper into the philosophy behind all of this. It is right up there.